All right, continuing with our digital painting, assignment 7. So I am working to finish up the rough painting, right? So again, what were the layers? What were the steps? I am working in a large enough pixel resolution, so I can always check my image size. You're never wrong to do so. I am doing it 11 by 14 inches by 350 pixels per inch. As long as it's more than 8 by 10 by 300, you're good. I have my references, both my photo reference and some of my style inspiration references. And you can see how all of those have kind of blended together a little bit to give me what I'm getting. I want to be able to be a little bolder and do this kind of thing as I refine it. And I can start that a little bit with the wing. I'm being a little tentative because I don't have anything to reference for the wing, like a real bird's wing. So I'm winging it a little bit. So let me continue with that. And I just use my brush. I have it at about 100 pixels big. I have it set to be pressure sensitive. And I'm going to get those color variations in there that I want. And I think I want it to be redder at the base here. Go through blue and then be lighter at the tips. I'm going to check my brush dynamics. Yeah, it's just not going quite as thin as I want, but that'll work. And it's not so much about designing or building a new brush every time you want a new approach. It's just understanding how your tool is working and how you can get what you want through those settings. So I might just do a lot of little dots here to finish it off. Okay, now in order to look like a wing, I need it to feel like it has some dimension to it. So that requires highlights from a consistent angle. And then cast shadows underneath those highlights. And again, this is all at, 67% opacity. So even though it looks like I'm covering work underneath, all of it's showing through, all of it's adding to the texture. So that kind of shows my highlights. Now, let's see, what's a good color for, I want the purples for the shadows. So what are we doing with our rough paint? We're getting our colors and our textures, and we're covering the entirety of our subject matter. So that if we turn on that helpful navigator tool under Window, we can see the whole of our design here and how it's working. And I can see, even though it's so rough in this rough painting, I can see how that use of highlights and shadows and color is working pretty well with the wing. All right. So now, what's next? So before I move to what's called the refined painting, I'm just going to trim it a little bit. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to turn off the sketch. I no longer have the sketch there. Notice I don't have any whiskers yet, and I will eventually. That's refined painting. I'm going to lock my rough painting, and I'm going to unlock my base painting. This one. And now to trim it, this is what I do. I'm going to use my lasso, and I'm going to go around and trim the silhouette that I want in little chunks. Okay, this is where I assert my hard edges. And if you look at the assignment in Canvas and you look at those Apple demos in the slides of my thorough explanation, my exhaustive explanation of digital painting, which I also showed a few videos ago during this class period, it showed how the apple was kind of roughly painted and then it was crisply cut out near the end. So this is how you can define some of your edges. Now I'm leaving a little bit of that base painting, like the golds and the reds, coming through because I think they're helpful. And I'm only able to delete from the base paint layer. I'm not on the rough painting layer. But I want to do this before I get to refined paint, so I really know what my silhouettes are. And just like we did our creature composite, we talked about the importance of silhouette for concept design for creatures. For a digital painting on a blank background, these shapes and their clarity is pretty darn important. So the trimming, like for this tail, I've got kind of wildly different shapes from my base painting to my rough painting. So I want to choose you can see that helps a lot. And then that's going to do it until Monday, where we finish this off with a refined paint layer. The other thing I can do is I don't really need these palettes anymore. Take care. So I can trim those and then lock all my layers and then save my work, and I'll post my rough painting as my progress at the end of day 2. All right. And just to do that, it's optional to post your progress. I'm just going to do a screen grab. But this will just kind of show you the steps that I find useful for digital painting. Save your work. Make sure it's saving where you expect it to save. We've had some issues with that. And then you can post it to Canvas. This is the problem with starting a new browser to clear the cache. You get to log in again. All right, and then that's it for today. So I will post that into our Canvas course as our progress as of the end of day 2. We're trying to finish it up for next class. And you'll find those supplemental kind of presentations and background on digital painting on the assignments page with assignment 7 right here. Yep, I'll post these videos as soon as I can. Just look for the playlists in YouTube. So we got our sketch layer, we got our base painting layer, and now I'm going to post the rough painting layer. And if that's as far as you get by the time we have to turn it in, that's still fully digital painting. It's just kind of sketchy digital painting. But I'll be showing you refined painting next class. And while you're digitally painting, the changes happen so quickly as you're working on it. It is kind of nice to take screen grabs and see that you actually have made a lot of progress as you work. Just doesn't always feel like it because each step is so controlled and so time consuming.